Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. 'Tis summer! 'Tis hot. Also, I'm drinking hot coffee, which is not helping. I hope summer is treating you well, that you're staying cool, cooler than I am, who has to turn the AC off to be able to film. Oh, the life of a celebrity. Actually, I'm hoping you guys bear with me today. I just needed like a quick little check-in video. We needed to talk real quick because I am in the middle of moving. Yes, that is right. Surprise move. Love when that happens. Love when it also coincides with my deadline. So hopefully a fun little low-key hangout chat video is like cool with you guys for the week. Today, I thought it was high time we could dive into checking in on my 2024 goals. Now, I made these back in January, and around June, July, I like to make a video where I check in, see how I am doing, and see if I need to reassess any goals and, you know, change them before we hit December. We'll go ahead and start with writing. This is a writing channel. Okay, I need a scrunchie. Are you guys gonna be offended if I put my hair up? Honestly, we're just losing more and more layers as this video goes on. I'm gonna be naked by the end.
That's for my other channel.
Beauty, Grace, Miss Universe. My first goal here was to get Project Pyro sub ready. Project Pyro is my YA thriller. I currently have 2 drafts of her. I needed to get a 3rd draft done before I sent her off for feedback. And then I take in that feedback and then I do another draft and all that stuff. So needless to say, 90% sure this is not happening this year. When I made this goal, I thought that my main project for 2024 would be Project Pyro, but then we sold Bitter Bones on proposal, which meant I did not have a completed draft of Bitter Bones ready before we sold it. So then I had to like scrounge and spend the rest of the year writing that book. Project Pyro got put to the back burner. I have not worked on it all this year. The last time I worked on it was in November of last year. So sad, but you know, I got a book deal, so we had to shuffle things around. I think my new goal for this is going to be to get Act 1 and Draft 3 completed by the end of the year. I think that's more realistic because I can work on the first act of that 3rd draft in between the little elbows of time I have in between Bitter Bones edits and copy edits and developmental and all that stuff. So that's the new goal. Act 1 and Draft 3 of Project Pyro done. And with any luck, next year is when we'll actually be sub ready and go on sub. Goal number 2 was to get Bitter Bones ready for feedback. I am well on my way to achieving this goal. I have to send in a draft to my editor. It's going to be the first time that she's reading the whole book. She has the outline and the query and all that stuff, but she's going to be reading the whole book for the first time, which is very exciting and stressful. And whatever I have ready is going to be sent to her on August 1st. So I guess I will be getting feedback then. And then I would like to complete the entirety of the 3rd draft before I give it to like beta readers and stuff like that. I'm thinking maybe October, September, October. I always am a month out from what I actually say. So if I'm saying September, it will be October, November when I'm ready for betas. My 3rd goal was to do more school visits. This one I'm kind of on track to do. I'm in a weird space right now because it is summer and like, you know, kids aren't in school. So I need to reach back out in August to my local schools and like be like, hey, hire me to talk to your 1st graders. But I am still booking. So if you are a teacher or a library and would love to have me like chat with your students, I do have a presentation that I give, or we could just like have a Q&A, hangout session, whatever. I have a link that you can hit in the contact page of my website for people that want me to come talk to their classes or libraries. So look, checking that goal off right now. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at these goals now. So the next 2 are my funsy goals. So they weren't like real goals. They were just like, just for fun. And that first one there was to turn When the Sea Came for Us into a romantasy. When the Sea Came for Us is my YA dark fantasy that I wrote way back in 2017, and it was the first book I tried to get an agent with, and it failed in the query trenches. I can pull it out, I suppose. Even if I make a mess, who cares? I have to take my bookshelves down today, you guys. It's really sad. Here it is, When the Sea Came for Us. She's a chonk. She's a real book. But I got this idea last year when like 4th Wing was like kind of taking over, because this is kind of 4th Wing except with mermaids instead of dragons. I was like reading 4th Wing and I was like, oh my god, this is When the Sea Came for Us, which debatably may or may not be a good thing, but here we are. This book got the idea to turn into a romantasy. I was like, how much fun would that be? As just like a free time project, not something that I need to worry about like publication. So it would be like after work hours when I'm chilling at night with a cup of tea, and I could just like reread this and think structurally how I could change this into just being a frothy little romantasy fun book. And yeah, don't have time to do that right now. And also highly intimidated by that idea because like, all right, middle grade, I don't really know how to write this space, but it is something that I kind of want to do one day. But what I'm finding is I don't want to make goals anymore that have to do with like hobby projects. Like this would be a hobby project, not like a publishing career project. I already have a book right now that I'm working on. That's like a fun hobby project, and it doesn't feel like a funsy hobby if I make goals around it. So like making this as a goal was maybe not the best idea. I mean, it probably was if I was going to like try to publish it, and like my agent is kind of big in the romantasy market. So like, oh my gosh, can you guys imagine if I like did turn this into a romantasy though, and then I like sent this to her and I was like, funny story, I have this book. So this is the one day maybe would like to, but not in the year of our Lord 2004 and 20. And my last writing goal was to do NaNoWriMo with Crimson Girls. Crimson Girls is I think it's gonna be YA. I might switch it to adult, I don't know. But I think it's gonna be a YA gothic sapphic horror that it's like Crimson Peak and The Count of Monte Cristo. I was actually gonna write this in 2021, 2022, but then I got the idea for Project Pyro and I just had to get that story out. So it's always kind of been pushed to the back burner. And I really want to take like just a month to really just do it and try it. I've also never done NaNoWriMo. I am notoriously a very slow writer, so I have no idea if I'm actually going to be able to get 50,000 words in 1 month. I'm pretty sure that this novel will be longer than 50K anyway. I don't know, it just seems like something that would be fun to try, and I always like a good challenge, you know? So I still plan on doing this. All right, and then let's talk about some life goals. I only made 2 this year. The first one was to have visible upper body growth, because you guys know I am on my muscle mommy bench pressing journey right now. And I also wanted to make a photo album of my England trip. I'm gonna be honest though, guys, I have so little time and so many hobbies that I am just not interested right now in like scrapbooking or anything like that. So I think I'm just gonna take that one off. That is no longer a goal for the year. But as for my arm growth, I feel like it's going really well. I have been weightlifting regularly now for like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like 6 months, maybe 7. And I feel like, well, I know I'm gaining muscle because I have a body weight analyzer scale and it tells you how much muscle you've gained. I'm 3%, maybe that's not a lot. I don't know, maybe I'm like trying to flex and maybe it's not a flex, but I'm 3% more muscle than I was like 6 months ago. So like, that's really exciting. And I can tell when I look at my arms and my chest and stuff, you probably can't tell that I have muscles that were not there earlier. Do you want to see me flex? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so like this is my arm, flabby jabby, right? And then, do you see that? I love her. So I'm seeing the muscle growth. I'm really excited. Honestly, I feel like my body is jacked, but you just can't see it under like my 1 pack of fat. So like if I could get my life together and actually like lose a little bit of weight, I would just be like, you know, head to toe John Cena. But I just really like bread and I'm kind of okay with that at this point. Okay, in the last portion of this video, I'm going to talk about reading. It's probably going to be my biggest section. I had many reading goals. I'm just going to hold them up like this and you can like, you know, screenshot if you're if you're really that interested. The first thing that I did, this whole big section down here at the bottom, I decided that I was gonna make myself some rereading goals. So I wanted to reread When the Sea Came for Us, my entire Junie B. Jones series collection, the Nevermore series, Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour, and The Disappearances by Emily Bain Murphy. Just because these are some of my favorites from the past and I'm like, well, I haven't reread them in a while, so like, why not get to it? But the more that the year went on, I just decided that I don't want, this is another thing that I don't want to make a goal, right? Like, rereading should be fun. It should be something that you just kind of do on the whim when you feel like it. So I just decided I'm not going to reread unless, you know, the spirits take me. But of the goals I am sticking with, number 1, read 5 graphic novels. I am on my graphic novel journey this year. I have never been a graphic novel connoisseur, so I thought I would give it a shot. I have so far read 2, so I'm not upset about that. I think that's pretty good. My next goal is to read or delete all books on my Goodreads 2021 TBR. I have this little like challenge with myself where if I have had a book on my Goodreads TBR over 3 years and I haven't read it yet, on that 3rd year I need to either like get it off or like DNF it or read it, you know what I mean? So I started out this year with 13 books that had to go. I only have one left, which is amazing, but it is nonfiction and I'm not really sure if it's something that I'm still interested in reading anymore. So we might just toss that to the side and consider this goal accomplished. Next, I needed to read or unhaul all physical books on my TBR from 2023. With my physical TBR at home, I let books stay here for 1 year and then they gotta get read. But I also have like a max physical TBR of 25 books, so it's like, you know, pretty simple to do. This behind me here is my entire home physical TBR, and I only have 9 books left, and most of these I have plans for. Like a lot of these are like spooky books that I'm going to be getting to in October, but there are a few that I don't have plans for, mainly the Brandon Sanderson big chunkers. So I need to sometime make, you know, try to fit those into readathons or something like that so they get done and taken care of. The next goal was to complete Buzzwordathon. This is a readathon that one of my favorite booktubers, Books and Lala, hosts, where every month you just have a random word and you just have to read one book in that month that fits that word or theme. This is my fancy little spread for it, you can kind of see, and I am all caught up. This year has been very good. I've had quite a few successful books from this that I've like actually loved and that are on my tops of the year, so very happy with that. And then my last goal I've actually already achieved, and that is to have a personal readathon where I get one column or genre of my TBR down by like a lot. Basically the idea for this was that my TBR, my Goodreads TBR, my physical TBR, it's Goodreads, my TBR is like at, I think like 170 or something like that. And then I take those books from my Goodreads TBR and I organize them in a Google Sheets by genre and age category, so I can see in perfect columns all of the books in one genre and age category. So I know if I'm in the mood for an adult fantasy, you just go straight to that category and see how many books I've got there. The problem is sometimes I go a while without being in the mood for reading a certain genre, but I keep seeing books that I would like to read and keep adding them, so the list gets really long. So I created my own little like genre-thon, readathon I do for myself, where I take 1 month and 1 or 2 of the genre age categories. I just read that for a whole month. And the idea is kind of like to do a try a chapter type tag situation where I'm just like, I'm gonna read the first 3 chapters of 15 books, and if they appeal to me they'll stay, and if they don't they go, and then the ones that stay I read. The genres I decided to do were adult thriller mystery, YA fantasy, and middle grade fantasy, and I got a whopping 20 books off my TBR this month. 10 were read and 10 were DNF'd. It was so satisfying. I swear I think DNFing is becoming a hobby just as much as actually reading the books. It just feels so good to just let them go. Life is too short to read books you're not enjoying. Cut it off. It's my Sagittarius coming through, but I will cut a book so fast. And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was I thought that, I don't know, we could talk about like mid-year things that I'm noticing with my reading and, you know, pretend I'm like a little booktube channel for a hot second. One thing that I have noticed is that my reading is actually quite a bit down this year. I've only read 54 books, which may seem like a lot, but this time last year I was at 90 books. So I am noticing that I'm reading a lot less. I feel like that's because I've been taking up like more and more other hobbies. I've been playing video games like a lot more regularly than I ever had before in my life. I've been watching more YouTube content, both like booktube and authortube, but also like D&D stuff. Like I've been really into Critical Role. Yeah, that's taking up a huge part of my life too. All of my reading time I feel like has been split in half, but that's okay. I'm not mad about it because I'm enjoying it, and it's also storytelling in its own way. So yeah, I have DNF'd 10 books already and DNC'd, or like, you know, did not commit to so many more books than ever before. I only DNF'd 12 books in total last year, and I'm already at 10 for half the year. That just tells me that I am not wasting time on things that are not bringing me joy, and I'm fine with that. I've had no 1 or 2 stars at all this year. Again, DNFing so much, it's great. I've already read more Kindle books this year than I have in all of 2023. Kindle is really coming in for the win. Okay, this is gonna sound kind of sad, and it is a little sad, but for me, it's happy. So I have had 3 favorites or 3 5-star books this year, which is like really good, because last year I only had 1 that wasn't a reread, and so this year I feel like I'm finding more books that I'm like really enjoying. I am so stingy with my 5 stars. I wish I wasn't such a picky little lady, but I am. And so yeah, I like very infrequently give out 5 stars. So the ones that I do, I'm just like, ah, yay, I found you, my love. Ooh, another really interesting thing is that 72% of my reads are adult this year, which is up from last year when it was only 48%. 16% are YA and 18% are middle grade, and last year 26% were on YA and 26% were middle grade. Big changes happening there. One thing I've noticed this year that is kind of new for me is that I'm reading books that I know, like in my heart, even when I start them, I'm like, this is not going to be a 4-star read. And for me, a 4-star is means I liked it, right? The way I rate is like 5 stars loved, 4 stars liked, 3 stars was meh, okay, forgettable, whatever, 2 stars was bad, did not like, and 1 star was absolutely horrid. And then because I'm extra like anal, I do like quarter stars, so like 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, like that kind of stuff. And normally if I don't think that a book is going to be at least a 4-star for me, which means I at least liked it, I usually DNF it, because like what's the point? But there has been quite a few books this year that I've read that I know aren't going to be 4 stars, but I'm enjoying the process of reading them, like just the experience of reading them, and so I keep going anyway, even though I know they're gonna be like a 3.5 or a 3 or whatever. A lot of these are like cozy little cute young middle grades or cozy fantasy books, things like that, where I'm just like, you know, like a nice cup of tea and low stakes and just chill. A nice little book to just like take the edge off. My glass of wine for the evening, if you will. And I kind of had to have a realization, a come to Jesus moment, where I was like, okay, the point of reading is not winning. Like, you're not winning because you're getting good stats, right? The point is enjoying the hobby. And if I am enjoying reading a 3.5-star book because it's just a wonderful way to like end the evening, that's just as important as finding a 4 and 5-star book, you know what I mean? Ooh, should we do the booktube mid-year freakout tag? I think we should. I'm being a booktuber today anyway, why not? I will link the tag creators down below if you want to check out their stuff. But yeah, let's get into it. So question number 1 is, what was your best book you read this year? And I am kind of tied between Bookshops and Bone Dust and In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I loved both and they're so very, very different. Bookshops and Bone Dust because I feel like I read that exactly when I needed to, and In My Dreams I Hold a Knife because it is the exact prickly character, messy friendship story that I really, really enjoy. I'm leaning more towards In My Dream I Hold a Knife. The best sequel I've read so far is Leviathan Falls, which is the last book in the Leviathan Wake series. It is an 18-book series and I'm so proud of myself. I read that entire thing in 4 months, 6 months, something like that. Read all 18 installments. That was so fun. It was my first experience with adult space operas. Loved it. The last book was incredible. I think it's so hard to end a series and this book did it so well. Best 2024 release is The Witching Wind by Natalie Lloyd. 100% Natalie Lloyd is everything I am and everything I'm not. Natalie Lloyd is my favorite author and this is her newest book. It comes out in September. I was so thrilled to be able to get an ARC and I loved it. She's great. This book is like a dual perspective middle grade novel and she always writes these like beautifully whimsical contemporary fantasy books that are just, oh, so like just shatter your heart is glass and then it just kind of cracks a little bit and it's just you have to hold it so it doesn't, oh, so good. Biggest surprise, Bookshops and Bone Dust. I just kind of liked Legends and Lattes, so I didn't think I would love the prequel, and I loved the prequel like more than the actual like first book. So yeah, that was shocking. New favorite author or author to keep an eye on? I'm gonna say Joelle Wellington. She wrote, I think, the very first book that I read this year. It's a YA thriller horror, and this is incredible. Like, I feel like not enough people are talking about this. It is so good. It's so well written. The characters are so like gritty and dynamic and interesting. It's one of those books that's a little goofy and you do have to like suspend your belief or whatever, but I love those kind of books. So it's about a girl who just graduated high school and she kind of inadvertently gets involved in this like battle royale trying to win the favor of this family because she wants to be able to go to the college of her choice and they can get her in there. My most anticipated book for the second half of the year is definitely Somewhere Beyond the Sea. It is going to be the sequel to House in the Cerulean Sea, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I love cozy adult fantasy that is written in the vein of middle grade but aged up for an adult audience, and that is what House in the Cerulean Sea is. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous book. It's about a man who goes to an orphanage because he works for, I don't know, CPS and has to go make sure all of these magical children are being well taken care of and not causing havoc for the normal people around the town. And he goes there and he learns the meaning of friendship and family and falls in love. And there's a child that's a dragon and there's a child that's a gnome and there's Satan. It's just so good. And the last question is books that I need to read before 2025. I've kind of already gone over those. So all of the books on my physical TBR, maybe the one book left on the Goodreads TBR, you know, every 3 years, whatever, the nonfiction, maybe. And basically whatever the heck else tickles my fancy. I'm gonna get back to work because I somehow have to work a full work day and then move all day in the evening. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching. You can order my books if you want. I write middle grade spooky books. If you would like to support my ministries, I do have, you know, a button that'll let you like and subscribe. Also a Ko-fi where you can leave me a tip, you know, put a little money in the offering plate as it comes around. Love you. I'm gonna go. Have a great day. Bye.